Hey, you're here! Hi, I'm Timmy Martins from Camp Grace. I'm one of the staff members here, and I usually work with the teenagers, but I also love working with the kids. And here's the thing, since you're here, you know what? We're gonna do our first lesson. We're going to learn more about what the gospel is. Now, I know we're a gospel Bible camp, and we do a lot of gospel-related things here in the county. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, isn't gospel like a type of music? I mean, yes, gospel is a type of music, and it's really great. I love listening to some gospel music. But the gospel is actually not a type of music. The gospel is actually something much bigger and much deeper than any type of music we could think of. And it's so much bigger than we could ever imagine. See, the gospel is how we know about Jesus. The gospel literally means good news. I'm so excited to start walking through this with you. In fact, we should probably call it something other than just going through the gospel. What about this? Since trusting Jesus and since serving Jesus it's so big and it's such a long journey, and since here at Camp Grace our tagline is an adventure that lasts a lifetime, why don't we call this gospel adventure? Yeah, I like it. Why don't you guys come along? We're going to learn more about what it means to know Jesus. Something's not right. Oh boy, I think it's broken again. All right, let me see if I can fix it. Oh, okay, there we go, that's better. For you to understand the gospel, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. And when I'm talking about the beginning, I mean way back then. And I'm talking about before there was internet. And even further than that, I'm talking about like before George Washington, or before the Renaissance, or even before the pyramids. We're going all the way back to the beginning. If you want to know where the beginning is, we can find it in our Bible. In Genesis 1:1, it says this: "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." See, we don't believe that life happened by accident. We believe that life happened on purpose, and that God was the one who created. Not random chance, but God himself. When God came and created, he only took 6 days to finish creating everything. On day 1, he made light and dark. On day 2, he separated the firmament. And I know that might be a weird word, but basically he made an atmosphere around the earth. That way we could have clouds and other things like that. On day 3, he made dry land. And on that dry land came vegetation. So all of your grass, all of your pine trees, all of your favorite trees and favorite fruits and favorite vegetables, those all came out on day 3. On day 4, God made the sun and the moon and the stars. And see, this is very interesting. This is very interesting because if you study the sun, you know that the earth goes around the sun. But we also see that God created the earth first. Interesting, isn't it? Regardless, God made the sun, the moon, and all of the stars on day 4. Then on day 5, God made all of the things that fly and all of the fish are going to sea. On day 6, God then made everything else, anything that creeps on the earth, when it comes to animals. So that means all of your insects, all of your mammals, so your monkeys, your giraffes, your elephants, all of our favorite animals were made on day 6. But you know what else was made on day 6? This is very important. Man was also created on day 6. And finally, on day 7, God rested. So I want to talk a little bit more about God creating man, because this is very important. Unlike the rest of the world, man is different than animals, and man is different than any tree or any plant, mainly because man was created in God's image. Well, that's a big deal. It's a big deal for us because it means that we have a soul. It means that we get to have a special relationship with God himself. Now, let's go back to the first man that God made, and that man was Adam. Adam was the first man, and he was probably pretty cool. I mean, because he was made perfectly, right? He probably was super strong, and he was probably super smart, and he could probably do anything that he set his mind to, quite honestly, since sin hadn't come into the world yet. Well, you might be wondering, what does he mean by that? Get in there. Give me 1 second. So God and Adam had this really close relationship, but Adam was also alone. So you see, God gave Adam a task to do. He said, I need you to do a couple things. I need you to first take care of the world, all right? You have dominion over the world. That means you are supposed to take care of it. And second, I need you to name all of the animals, okay? Go out and name them. So God gave Adam a job, and he was going to do it. And he was also looking for seeing if there was someone that he could have a companion with who would, kind of be his best bud. He probably found dogs pretty quickly, but even dogs weren't good enough for him. They weren't sufficient for someone to be with him. And God knew this, and God even said it's not good for man to be alone. So he came up with a solution. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. So, God came up with a solution for man being alone. And so what he did is he put Adam into a deep sleep. And while he was sleeping, he took out one of his ribs. And he took that rib and he made it into a beautiful woman. Do you like my hair? This woman's name was Eve. Oh, need to fix my hair. This woman's name was Eve. And you see, Eve was the perfect, and I mean perfect, helping mate and companion for Adam. Better than any dog, better than any elephant, better than any lion. You see, because Eve was also made in God's image. And she was very beautiful, probably one of the most, if not the most beautiful woman on the planet. But anyways, these two people, Adam and Eve, lived in perfect harmony. In fact, they were able to talk to God, and they were able to have real communication with God. Like God would come down and walk on the planet with them. They were in this beautiful garden, and they got to hang out with God. How cool is that? Well, this is where our story gets very interesting. You see, already in Genesis chapter 3, we see something go very wrong. You see, God has an enemy. God has an enemy named Satan. Satan used to be named Lucifer, and Lucifer used to serve God. But then he was like, I'm going to be greater and stronger than God. And God was like, no, I don't like pride. So, Satan, you're going to be cast out from heaven. You can't be here anymore. Satan didn't like that. And so, he decided that he was going to mess with God's own creation. We see it in Genesis chapter 3. You see, God had made this beautiful garden for Adam and Eve. And in this garden, there is this beautiful tree. And God said, do not eat from the fruit that is at the tree. That was his only rule. Well, Satan decided to be a little bit of a trickster. And so, you know what? Maybe it's just best if I just act it out. Hey, 1 second. Oh man. Look. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day in the garden. Oh my goodness. Nothing could ruin my day. Even if Adam went to go play football with the Bears versus the Lions, that wouldn't even ruin my day. It's so perfect. Oh, look. Look, there's the tree. There's the tree that God said don't eat from. What a pretty tree. Oh my goodness. Well, hello there, Eve. Hello. Hello. I'm a snake. Oh my. A talking snake. Don't see that every day. Well, hello there. Okay, a little weird, but okay, hello. Well, my darling, why don't you eat of the fruit of the tree? Well, I mean, the fruit does look pretty good, but well, that's my husband Adam said I should definitely not eat of the fruit, and so hard pass. I don't think I should eat it, or Adam even said don't touch it, so I'm good. Thank you though. Why don't you come see if it tastes good? Doesn't it look good? Here, come try the fruit here. Oh, I mean, it do kind of look tasty. I don't know, what could go wrong? In fact, I'm touching it right now, so I didn't die. So, God did say if I eat this, I'm going to die. Okay. Well, look how delicious. Delish this looks. Oh my goodness. I have to try it. I have to try it. Okay. Here I go. Okay. It's gonna be delicious. It's really good. Hey, Adam! Adam, come over here. Oh, hey, Eve, what's up? I was about to go play football with the Bears. We were gonna go up against the Dolphins this time. What? Is that the fruit of the tree that I said not to eat from? Adam, I know you said not to eat from this fruit. We're gonna touch it, but look, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead, see? And it do be delicious. I think you should try it. Here. If you're not dead, and this is some delicious looking fruit. You know what? I'm gonna try it. Oh, son. And just like that. You might not have realized, it was kind of a silly skit, but just like that, sin entered into the world. This is something very serious for us to understand. Sin is when we disobey God. And since God said not to do one thing, and Adam and Eve did exactly that thing that they were not supposed to, sin came into the world. Again, sin is disobedience. But another way that we could say it, it's anytime that we think, say, or do anything that displeases God, that God doesn't like. You might be thinking, well, how do I know what God does and does not like? Well, it's found in the Bible. In fact, all throughout the Bible, it tells us ways that we need to better live. If I were to go through all the commandments and all the things that God has said to do, you'll find that it's impossible to live a life without sinning. We're going to talk a little bit more about that next lesson. But right here we see that sin happened. It's not a pretty scene. And I know that's kind of, what we just saw is kind of silly, but sin is very serious. This is what happened after all that happened. God came down, and Adam and Eve hid from him. They hid in some bushes. And when God came by, he was, "Where are you guys?" They came out ashamed, and they told him what had happened. God wasn't very pleased. He isn't pleased because God hates sin. God is also just. I know that's a hard concept to understand, but it means that if something wrong happens, God has to do something about it. Think about it this way. If a man goes out and does terrible things, a man goes out and he hurts one of your best friends and steals your favorite TV or your favorite pair of shoes and hurts all the people around you, and then the police get him. They take him before the judge, and the man says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's not going to happen again." Would a good judge say, "Okay, you're free to go"? No. A good judge would say, "Well, I might believe you, but as a good judge, I still have to administer punishment. I still have to be just. And if you do something evil, you're going to have to pay for it in the end." And so a good judge would not let that man who hurt your family and who stole your favorite shoes or television or whatever get away with it. Adam and Eve had done something terrible. And since God is just, he just couldn't let them get away with it. So he actually banished them from the beautiful garden that he had made for them. They would not ever be allowed to go back into it. And along those punishments, Adam would have to now work, and the work wouldn't be joyful anymore. The work would be hard. It'd be very easy to not find joy in your work. Weeds and all sorts of thistles and thorns all came from that curse. And so if you're ever weed eating outside, you can thank Adam for all the weeds. For Eve, what once was supposed to be painless childbirth was now going to be very painful for all women. And for snakes, they were cursed to slither on their bellies for the rest of their life. Who knows what snakes looked like before they were cursed? That's what God feels about sin. He's very serious about it. But he's also a good God. And he found a way that he can save us from that sin. So I want you to stick with us, because we're going to talk more about how God managed that and how God worked that out in the coming lessons. But for now, thanks for watching. This is lesson 1. You can expect another one soon, and we'll talk even more about what sin is and how we can conquer sin. Signing out.